Alright, so this is the second movie by Greek filmmaker Stelios Kamitsis. Although it does seem to be sort of a multinational production and they do primarily speak English, so subtitles aren't totally necessary, although they can come in handy at times. Especially early on, because well, while this one isn't exactly dialogue heavy in the first portion. In fact, there's almost no dialogue, but the little there is in Greek and you kinda wanna know what they're saying. Because this is a movie that doesn't just give you a whole lot of exposition, almost none of it actually. It pretty much adheres to the saying show don't tell, it just shows you what's going on instead. And I always appreciate that kind of filmmaking that respects the audience and trusts them to figure out what's going on. But yeah, when it does give you a little bit of dialogue early on, it's helpful to have those subtitles turned on. Anyway, so in the opening sequence we basically get introduced to this young Greek man. We get a glimpse into his daily life in this almost montage type little sequence, which I found to be surprisingly effective as it really does deliver you all the information you need to know in just a couple of minutes. You very quickly get a good idea of what's going on in his life and what it's like to be him, and it's not exactly glamorous, but he seems to get by, and anyway, it soon becomes clear that he is gonna go on a road trip. And again, no one tells you this, and no one explicitly tells you his destination either. But all you need to do is pay a little bit of attention and it's not hard to figure out what's going on here. And the bulk of the movie takes place on the road, it's essentially a road trip movie. But while his destination does seem clear, his motivations for going aren't as clear. There are certainly hints, it's not a complete mystery, but the movie doesn't explain it until much later in greater detail, when it actually becomes a natural part of the dialogue. And again, I just love the way this handled all of that. It's such a restrained and kind of mellow movie too. This one isn't exactly intense, although the tensions do rise a number of times, but it always soon drops back to a more laid-back vibe. But I will say that despite that, there's almost always this underlying tension in the background as well, which pretty much stems from the personalities of the two main characters here. And I will say I found them both to be a little bit, I don't know even what to call them. Because annoying is not quite the right word, it doesn't exactly describe what I mean. But I found it to be a little bit taxing to watch them interact a lot of the time because of their dynamic. On account of their personalities, because one is very outgoing, which makes him seem a bit pushy. And the other guy just wants to not be bothered, which makes him seem a bit standoffish. So yeah, I didn't necessarily love that, but on the other hand, it is part of what builds that tension in a lot of those scenes. And if that wasn't there, you'd either have a very boring and uninteresting movie, or you'd have to make the dynamic more fun and relax, and that's clearly not what this one was going for. Because while there are fun elements to this, the tone is still rather serious at the core of it. And the humor is primarily there to lighten things up a little bit so it doesn't turn straight up gloomy. But yeah, I don't know, I think it's a well-made, competent little movie, but I'm not entirely sure how much I liked it in the end. I liked things about it for sure, and I definitely didn't dislike it as a whole either. And I loved how it dealt with the storytelling as it kept it all very subtle. But I don't know, as far as a rating goes, I guess I'm gonna go with a fairly neutral, solid 6. Boop. However, would I recommend it? If you like small-scale, simple dramas, sure, why not? Otherwise, I would say skip it, or you can do whatever you feel like. After all, I'm not your dad. But hey, what are your thoughts on this? Have you seen it? Did you like it? Let me know. And if you enjoyed the video, maybe give it a thumbs up or sub to the channel, because that would be fantastic.